Hello everyone and welcome back to more Kerbal Space Program. I completely forgot what we did in the last episode. Oh yes, we made the triumphant return from Mun with whole tons of science. And in this episode we're going to start with some post-commentated goodness, where I decide to make a couple of probes to orbit the Mun and Mimnus to get science from them. This is just me accelerating the build process. This is generally the way I will build my lower tech probes. I will put the solar panels on top and then alternate set on the bottom with 2 comms dishes and 2 radiators alternating to use the space most efficiently, 2 thermometers to get easy science, and basic science satellite. I'm pretty sure I misspelled satellite, but oh well. And then below that, I put, I believe, one of those. I don't have I do have small engines. They're not very efficient, but they could be used for emergency course corrections. And, the little Rocket Max engines are my best small radial engines, so I use those. They're not really that useful, but for a very small course correction that doesn't require a ton of fuel, could be useful. I think I get like 6 seconds of thrust total out of it. That's all you really need for a probe that small. And then just putting a decent-sized rocket on this. First off, though, is just the maneuvering node for it. Small fuel tank, LV909 engine, 2.5 minutes of thrust out of it with a good thrust-to-weight ratio. So you really don't need too much for that. I put smaller engines on there just because they'll burn for a little longer, which is better for making course corrections. Throw a mech jeb on there, just so I know the orbital info. And here I put an adapter. I really shouldn't have done that. Put a couple of fuel tanks on there. I didn't really need to, but I wanted to put a good size engine on there. And again, with KW rocketry engines, you gotta put a little adapter there to get it to work properly. And then, what do I do after this? Oh yeah, I put 4 solid fuel boosters, I believe, the Thors. There we go. And then after that, I gotta do all the staging and do all the tagonal strut things. I don't know why I showed the entire build process, because it's honestly a little bit repetitive once you get past the launch stage, the maneuvering stage, and the final stage. Typically that would be a landing stage or final maneuvering. And there you go, nice and simple. Just throw, I think I threw some RCS fuel tanks on there or something. Or I tried to put some on top and none would fit, and I was trying to figure out how the hell to get those on top, and they just looked ridiculous, so I eventually quit. I do believe I eventually quit. The one bad thing about doing this post-commentary, there you go, is the fact that I keep forgetting, if it's something I'm going to post-com, to not allow my voice to be captured by fraps. But in case something really interesting happens where it would require like a live, my live reaction, then it would be very much useful to, actually have my reaction there instead of trying to post-com it all. And I just use the orbital info readout and send a little bit higher, and we launch. God, I love the sound of those engines. They are pretty loud though, so I think I'll actually lower the friggin' volume in future episodes. And I keep forgetting that once you're at a certain speed, the engine's gonna cut out on you. But once those engines fall away, that will go right to max thrust. So, a very efficient way to launch yourself. 4 of those, especially if you're launching something as small as a satellite. Just go ahead and cut out all the maneuvering that you don't want to see. And this thing is extremely hard to control, so once I get to about here, I set my trajectory, and what do I do? Oh yeah, I'm trying to figure out which way to go here. I think the first thing I'm trying to do is to make the ascending and descending nodes there, try to make them a little bit more even. And once I do that, I try to get myself a good encounter. And after a bit of faffing about, I edit it out and get an encounter. I very slowly make the adjustments and fire my engine. And because this engine's super powerful, I overshoot it a bit, and because of that, I completely miss. And then I get completely infuriated with how hard this thing is to maneuver as I try to get point at retrograde. So I decide to detach the last section right here, because I'll be honest, the only thing I need now is the LV909 and its fuel, because it's really going to be very easy to get into orbit with those. So it's just a matter of time before I eventually detach this. Because look at how ridiculous this thing is to maneuver. And it's now going the complete wrong direction, so... There you go. Look how much easier that is to maneuver now. Even with RCS and torque, that thing is really hard to control. There you go. And... there you go. Close encounter with the Mun very easily. We'll get caught by its gravity, and it'll be relatively easy to burn into orbit. It only is an 18-second burn. That's more than enough for this engine. And for some reason, the RCS on this thing died, and I was wondering, why is RCS working? Why isn't? And then I realized, oh, wait a minute. And then I completely fuck up. I go too far, and then I accidentally separate stages, and then I go too far again. Quick saving because of impatience. It's so helpful. This time I am a lot more careful. Very much more careful. And then I switch to the map mode and circularize my orbit. Bring it in nice and close. Which, the thing is, I didn't know about what height above Mun I had to be at to get the temperature to be able to be read out thing. I'm a bobbery, so I go over the maneuver node, I simulate ahead a little bit, and then once I'm about there, I just make a small burn, and I think I'm done. But then I try to get temperature scans, and I realize I need to be much closer. I think I need to be within 20, so I get my periaps nice and low, down to 18, and boom, I can start doing the science missions from around here. And then once I get to the periaps, I decide to drop my apoaps a little. Or do I? Oh yeah, for some reason when I got close to the planet, I lost control. I have no idea why. Completely lost control of my probe. But I managed to bring it back here. I managed to, I don't know why I was trying to make a maneuver there. Just try to get a little bit further away from the planet. I think it was a communications blackout, but anyway, same exact thing here. Except this time I make a small adjustment to put put one of the RCS fuel tanks there, so I have RCS on the top, and I put it along the bottom to try to increase maneuverability, and I realized it wasn't aerodynamic, so I added wings. And that's the Mimnus satellite. We're going to go ahead and launch that. Pretty much the same exact thing as before. I don't know why I decided to show this. Very much easy. And this is me wondering again why that engine's cutting out. And then I realized, well, it really doesn't matter because it's going to turn right back on anyway. And then again, once you were at 10,000 feet or 50 seconds to apoapse, you make the turn. And do this to avoid gravity tugging on you too hard. Circularize orbit. Nice and simple. And we make the maneuver. Takes a while to get into position, but... What's odd is I don't know why here I'm not trying to get over the maneuver node and I'm getting over the prograde vector, because when you fast forward, the prograde vector moves and you're... I don't know what I was thinking. I also didn't edit this section out. I have no idea what I was thinking either. Go ahead and make that burn, and of course it's hard to keep this because of how unstable the entire rocket is. And from here it's time to go to Mimnus. Or, circularize the orbit a little bit more because I decided to be a little bit OCD. Not entirely sure why, but... And... are we there yet? No, apparently not. But this thing did turn over relatively quickly. Or at least quickly for this being 4 times the speed that I was actually playing at. There we go. It takes almost no burn to do that. And then from here I set my target to Mimnus, go along the ascending node, and then I faff around a bit trying to make sure I get a good encounter. And I don't remember where the cut is, it's right along here. Here we are. There we are, Mimnus periaps. And then I make the maneuver node for that, and then I realize for some reason I have to burn forward to get the periaps, but I get over it. It's going to take 601 meters per second. I don't know why I'm... Oh yeah, it's because it's at a high speed. I'm doing this in preview quality, so I couldn't actually read that. And the burn has been done for the most part, except, again, I overshot it because this engine's ridiculously powerful. And then instead of faffing about trying to maneuver that thing, I just jettison it because I don't need it anymore now that I'm on my way. Stability assist over retrograde vector, kill my velocity a little bit, and get my encounter after a bit more faffing around. So here comes another cut. We got it. I'm going to be overlaying some music onto this so you're not just listening to this game's music ridiculously sped up, because it's really creepy when it's sped up like this. Kind of sounds like the music a mad clown murderer would happily slice children apart to. Eugh. Just no. I'd much rather have a nice ambient music going behind this. The link for the music that I will be using for this would be in the description, as well as in it's going to be probably the same song I used in episode 5 and 6 in a nutshell, so, because it's a nice calming music. And there we go. Simulate ahead until I get to the Mimnus encounter. There we go. Turns out right on course, as per usual. Just burn retrograde. And I burn there to get my estimated burn time, which is 18 seconds, which is about normal. Mimnus does have pretty low gravity. Just organize it so my maneuver node is directly on the periaps, or apoaps. I always get them confused. And again, I would do all this commentary in Audacity so that way I could do the noise removal, but the last time I tried that, I completely forgot about it. Here I realize I'm a little bit too high. The mountains on Mimnus are, I think, 10 kilometers high, or 7. And if you're too close when you're orbiting, it's very possible, excuse the burp, that you will crash into one of those mountains. And this is extremely mountainous, and you want to land in those plains eventually. So it requires a little bit of work. And when I get close to the apoaps, I decide to pull it up a little bit because I lost control of my drone again. I don't know why that's happening on the dark side of planets. And it's like, it must be something with Interstellar mod, because I don't have remote tech. And can't do the temperature scan because I'm too high up. Once I get below, I'm trying to find it there. Yep, 30,000 is when you can do it. So I drop my apoaps to 30,000. It's pretty tough to get it, but I do. And there it goes. So I will leave things to old me. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where I've already used 12 minutes of my 25 today on satellite launches, times 4 speed and post commentary. And yeah, the main reason for that is for these science missions, because they're very easy to do when you can just go to the tracking station, go to your probes. That's a lot of debris. You got the one over Kerbin. We can get that for free science, depending if it's close enough. If it's not close enough, then... Oh, I think I'm just barely close enough. Nope. I'm gonna have to speed up until I am back headed down. I think it's like 250,000. Yep, there we go. And that's done. Let's go back to the Space Center. Although I could just go to map mode, which I probably should have done, and toggle between them. It's a lot simpler. And then the one around the Mun. They want science for that one, so that's easy enough. Doesn't matter if it's, of course, no actual science value. Alright, now please tell me I set science to abort here. No, that's my solar panels, and that's all my important things that keep this thing alive. Let's go ahead and redo all that. Alright, so I set this one to brakes, so that's annoying. Alright. And as you can see, that's just an easy way to gain 13,000 money and 130 science. And less money and a decent chunk of science. But yeah, we can go back to the Space Center and use that to unlock other things. And plus, because the rockets that I sent to Mimnus and Mun in post-editing cost about 130,000 apiece, that money's really helpful. Now, we can't get any of the 500s, and definitely can't get the 1,000 ones. But we can get some of the 300 ones. Now, I don't know which one I want, to be honest. I could go with high-altitude flight to try to get the turbojet engines. Or I should probably go for large electrics. That way I can make super large, super massive stuff. Stings electrics with the English. I don't know. Or I can go ion propulsion to allow my probes to push themselves along very, 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 very slowly. Or I can go for large control, but that's not quite as important. Decisions. I don't want to spend forever doing that. So, okay. I think I'm just going to go large electrics. I don't know if that leads into anything directly, but... Oh, it looks like it does. It leads into specialized electrics, which leads to supermassive battery packs, capacitor banks, argon tanks, pulsed inductive thrusters. No, I'm pretty sure I've seen all this array. Yep. Already. Yep. Electronics and large electrics leads to specialized electrics and advanced science tech. Which is probably the next one I'm going to try to get, because you can get a lot of science with this gravioli detector. And the science lab and spectrometers are part of Interstellar, as well as the ISRU refinery. It can refine a whole bunch of different things, but I can't see it. But anyway, like for example, I believe they added Interstellar in its most recent version added water to Mimnus. If you land in a certain spot, you can mine water and through electrolysis turn it into hydrogen and oxidizer, liquid hydrogen and oxidizer, and thus refueling station. So anyway, I said we were going to try to land on Mimnus, and I want to try to get a mission for it, but I can't seem to find it. It's just like explore Ike, orbit a station on Duna, satellite in a Kiala orbit, no. Explore Ike, explore Duna. Yeah, it doesn't seem I can get anything for around Mimnus, even though I have a satellite around Mimnus. Yep, these are all orbital stations. I don't feel like doing that. Seismic surveys. Plant a flag on the Mun. Can't you give me one from Mimnus, please? Satellite. Because Mimnus is the next place I'm going. Alright, I'm going to definitely do that. Science data for around Mimnus, I can do that. Seismic... flag on Mimnus. That's the next thing I want to do. No, I'm not placing a satellite in that kind of orbit. No. I don't want a surface outpost there. Orbital station, no. Plant a flag on the Mun again. Visual surveys of Kerbin. Orbital station. Orbital station. Atmospheric scans. Yeah, it looks like I can't get any more missions that are any good. Yep, but we have science status, which are easy, and then the flag on Mimnus, which is easy. So I'm just gonna slash out me getting the science data from, what was it, Mimnus and Kerbin, and I will be right back. Alright, we're back, and we got a total of 300 science from that, actually, so we can get something new. And, I'm pretty sure that I have all the techs that lead to another tech, except for high-altitude flight, that leads to, something else. I can't remember. But, I don't know about getting this other stuff, like the launch escape system. I don't really think I need. This module is mainly for, orbital stations. The lander can, meh. Big RCS fuel tank could be pretty good, but I think I want to get ion propulsion, so that way I can send some interplanetary stuff going around. And, I believe that leads to something in the either near future or Interstellar. Nope, it doesn't lead. I think it's specialized electrics and advanced unmanned tech that lead to that. But I definitely want to get advanced unmanned tech because the drone core does not have a good amount of yaw or roll control, but it has great pitch control and gives you a maneuver and tracking, target tracking, which is very good. It does require a lot of electricity, but I did just unlock the Gigantor solar arrays, so that's really good. And another thing is, these ion thrusters require a very large amount of electricity per second. And that's a good thing about having the Gigantor solar arrays. Where was it? It was in large electrics, right? Yep, these Gigantor solar arrays give you 18 charge per second. And basic ion engine, looking for it, requires 18 per second. So if you put two of these, if you put one ion engine with two Gigantor solar arrays, a battery pack, and bam, that's easy enough. We also get plasma thrusters in this, but I don't know anything about them, to be honest. I know they require a lot of power. And for that you need to use fission generators, which require radiators, which require me to know a lot more about the game than I actually do. So, we're just going to go ahead and quickly build a Mimnus lander, and we're going to bring 3 people with us this time, so more people can join in the fun and see how Mimnus looks like a mint dessert, which of course these Kerbals will love. So give me a second to build this and I'll be right back. Actually, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show this in speed up, but I'm going to build myself a rover to bring with us, and hopefully I can get it to fit inside a cargo bay. Hello guys, sorry about the cuts. I'm just hoping that this time the issues have worked themselves out. It looks like they have. I'm not dropping to ridiculously low frames anymore, so that's cool. Anyway, while I was waiting, I think the main thing that I did is the fact that I let some of my videos render and I deleted some raw files to get myself some storage space. I think Fraps takes severe issue trying to write new files if you're below 150 gigabytes of memory, which is what I was at. Keep in mind, before I started recording this series, I was at 450. So, anyway, I built a couple new rovers. This is a basic, small, remote command rover. It has no seats, it has the small wheels. It's only a scientific experiment. It could take its temperature, but it can send that data back if you so choose. It's got a radiator, some basic solar panels, a probe body, a unmanned control, a single backup battery, and a retractable solar panel to track the sunlight for when the ones that I put along the side just won't cut it. So basically, if you flip this thing over, you're fucked. And let's go ahead and load up the basic small rover. I do believe I finished this in the last while I was waiting. Oh, no, this is the basic small rover. Which one? Rover base is the one I was working on. I don't know if I actually finished it. I think I moved on to different ones. Yep, this is the rover base. Now, it's time for me to explain my reasoning behind this. Okay, first of all, the wheels. I want a wide wheelbase because it's much harder to flip over a rover if the wheelbase is rather wide. So, if I felt confident in my ability, I would actually set these a little bit forward and set these a little bit back to make it an even wider base, but I decided not to do that. Now, the main thing you may be wondering is, what the hell are these things? Well, these are landing struts, and the reason I chose this is because, boom, if you flip yourself over, that's a 100% guaranteed way of getting yourself back, unflipped. Now, we have 4 small charge batteries and 4 large charge batteries right there. A retractable encased solar panel, so that way if I do flip over, the solar panel is not immediately destroyed. I've got 5 static solar panels around the probe body here. The only thing I don't have on this thing is a radiator, which could be an issue. I'm probably going to put the radiator on the bottom here. It's got seats for 2 Kerbals, and I actually had to move these seats back a little bit because when I was testing it remotely, I crashed into the vehicle's assembly building on purpose, and one of these did explode. Now, it looks like it wasn't because of the lights that this, all the lag happened, so I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of wide beam lights on. Normally, you would put on a heavy beam light, but the reason I'm doing the wide beam lights is because the high beam lights cause significant lag for me. If you've got a halfway decent rig, they won't cause lag for you, but unlike most people, I have a not-so-halfway decent rig, and I have yet to be able to really save up for my good rig, so there we are. That should give my Kerbal Knots plenty of leg room. Fortunately, these clip now. What about if I were to do something like try to set them along here? It would require finagling, but I think I could do it. Now, I'd have to turn these in. That's not turning them in. Turning them in like this, and turning them up a little bit. Rotate. Basically, you just want these guys to light the area in front of you. Okay, they clip a little bit, but that's fine. You don't really need to see the area behind you too much. Alright, let's go ahead and do that. Alright, now a radiator. I do need that because of one of the mods I have installed. Also, I installed Kerbal attachment system, so if I wanted to, say, set a storage unit underneath here, if that's what I'm trying to do at least. Oh, I almost had it. There we are. I don't think that'll actually work, but if it does, that's awesome, because you can pack stuff into here. As you can see, Kerbals can then take these out and carry them around. So, we can go ahead into science and see. You have space for a certain amount of stuff, and it tells you how much delta V it'll actually cost you, and it gives you the weight. So we're going to add 2 thermometers in here, 3 of them actually. No, we only need that. We're going to put 5 of the accelerometers in here. Now you can't fit the Science Juniors or the Goos in the small one, unfortunately. Now you don't need a Communitron because I've already got do I? Actually, don't think I've got communication on here. I can add that manually, but it's worth your time to add a backup, so... Oh, too much? Oh, let's go ahead and remove a couple of those accelerometers. There we are, a backup antenna, a thermometer, and a backup accelerometer and a backup. We don't need a barometer on the moon, but exploring planets, it could be useful. And then you could put, like, a whole bunch of other stuff in here, like replacement solar panels, for example. And let's go ahead and add a replacement solar panel into there, just in case. You could put rechargeable batteries in here, ladders, new lights. You can even put a probe body on here. And then a whole bunch of other stuff. Cubic octagonal struts, RCI ports and thruster blocks. You can even put command seats in here, just in case. But that's pretty cool. That's all I need. Can I, Alright. Alright, there we are. Close. Okay, so this thing now has a couple of... has a backup solar panel in it. It's not the covered one, but oh well. And let's actually go ahead and double check, because I completely forgot. Yeah, it's got 2 thermometers, 2 accelerometers, a photo replacement solar panel, and a replacement antenna array. So speaking of antenna array, that is a fatal flaw in my design. Let's go ahead and put that right in the middle here. If we go ahead and extend that, this is what it would look like, and there is no clipping, but it very, very much covers up the command seats, so looks like I will be going with a standard Communitron right here. And might as well go ahead and edit that, because, yeah, that's not gonna work. Let's just go ahead and put a standard Communitron 16 on here. And boom. There we go. Now, I didn't put any RCS on here, and you shouldn't need RCS on your probes unless you've, like, on your rovers, unless you've really mucked them up. Actually, that's not where I want that. Go ahead and... oh, Jesus. That's the bad part about building rovers. It's actually... no. Do one like that. Looks kind of silly, but it's not in the way of anything. Nope. Ah, come on. Retract. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and save it and test this out. This is the rover I'm going to try to be bringing with me to Mimnus. I wish I could pack science in there, but I can only really pack the big science stuff into the big science stuff. Now, you want to hit brakes the instant you start, otherwise you will roll around. Alright, so let's go ahead and extend this solar panel. When you're accelerating, at least... when you're accelerating, at least... in Kerbin gravity, you do not, under any circumstances, want to have the solar panel retracted. Extend it, because it will break off with the G-forces. And that actually doesn't work. I'm going to have to place it at the center of the probe body. But it's actually becoming nighttime, so let me just go ahead and accelerate through the night. And that's actually one of the reasons why I placed so many backup batteries on here, because you look how much energy that is draining through the night cycle. If you put enough batteries on there, your solar panels will eventually be able to compensate. But let's go ahead and toggle the brakes off. And I'm pressing W, but I'm going backward. That's actually a very common problem. All I'd have to do is remove everything from the probe body, and then eventually I would be able to do all the things. Now I'm going to quickly manually brake. Not manually brake. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to disable the motor on these two wheels. So that way they're actually not firing, and now I'm going to brake. I'm trying to flip this thing over, actually. Alright, well, let me go ahead and unbrake. And just continue driving. Alright, let's just go over this and hope for the best. It's very important to note, if you go over a bump too hard, you will break your wheel. It's non-negotiable. It's going to happen. You're going to feel it like stupid. Okay, it looks like I actually made this thing a little bit too stable. I'm not flipping it over by stopping short. I'm really trying to flip this thing over here. If you are unsure of your abilities anyway, it shouldn't be an issue. Anyway, you really don't want to be time accelerating when you're driving a rover. Especially since the physics engine can cause you to like go over bumps and stuff, but let's just go ahead and... it's like skating, almost. You know, you're going at pretty decent speed here. If you're just going along straight, you can go at a very decent speed. And let's actually go ahead and actually enable the motor on this. Oh, it's causing us to drift. Four-wheel drive, save me! Oh, wow, that was actually pretty good maneuvering, if I do say so myself. You're going to be taking this thing to Mimnus. Now, how is this going to get on an aircraft? Not an aircraft, but onto a shuttle? Well, I will show you later. As for now, I'm going to try my damnedest to flip this thing over. It's not flipping over. It's being really stubborn. Because I really want to showcase how using the landing gear can help you out. So what about if I go over this at good enough speed? I'm going at almost 20 meters a second, but unfortunately for me, it won't work. And now I'm stuck. Because I've broken off my wheels. It won't work. Anyway, let's go ahead and recover the vehicle, and this episode's dragged on way too long, so I'll see you guys in the next episode, where we will be going to Mimnus for science and greatness. The only thing I will do before I go is show you the command vehicle that I have got for Mimnus, and did I save it properly? Mark II Mimnus lander. Now would you look at this monstrosity? I'll explain it next time. See you later.